This is ESBR Boxing. I'm delighted to be joined by Niall. We're here reacting to the weigh-in that we have just seen. Obviously, 8 fights on the Day of Reckoning card in Saudi Arabia. We are concentrating on the Deontay Wilder Joseph Parker heavyweight fight. Two former world heavyweight champions. This fight's one that's co-main event, of course, the Joshua Wallen. It's a compelling fight, Niall. Just kind of your initial thoughts on the fight and on what we saw there at the weigh-in.
Yeah, just on the fight in general, I've mentioned it numerous times in videos. It's the fight I'm most looking forward to on this card. I just think there's so much at stake for both men, and Wilder being so exciting, but seeing what he has left after the Fury fights, 1 round in 2 years. I just think stylistically and what's at stake, I think it's an amazing fight. On the way in, I like what I've seen from both men. Both men looked in great shape, particularly Deontay Wilder. If you're a Wilder fan, coming in at 213, I think is perfect. That's the perfect range for Wilder, kind of 210 to 220. The Fury fights where he came in in the 230s was crazy. So it's great to see him back at his kind of peak fighting shape. So he should be ready to go tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I echo every sentiment you've said there. Just to kind of to actually outline the official weights, you were correct there. Deontay Wilder weighed in at 213 pounds, which is about 15 stone three. And Joseph Parker weighed in at 245.3 pounds, which is around 17 and a half, I believe. If you kind of compare that to the last few, as you mentioned there with Wilder, Niall, the Wilder rematch, um, where he was knocked out in what round seven or eight, was he was 231 pounds at the weigh-in, Wilder. Then for the trilogy, he was 238. So he's a good 24. He's 25 pounds lighter than the Fury trilogy fight. He's also a pound and a half lighter than the Robert Helenius fight, the one round blowout of Helenius. Um, Last October in 2022. So yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, mate. Kind of peak weight for Deontay Wilder. He looked slow and cumbersome almost when he was up in the 230 range, which is obviously light for most other heavyweights. But Deontay Wilder is that he's a really light heavyweight, isn't he? To be honest, if there was kind of that super cruiserweight some people are talking about, he'd be a perfect fighter for that. You could almost argue that he could probably at a push make cruiserweight Deontay Wilder, but obviously
Yeah.
he's agile. He's very slim physique. But it doesn't take anything away from his right hand. When you look at Parker as well, mate, yeah, 245.3, 5 pounds down from the Simon Keane fight in October. He was 239 and three quarters against Opalu before that, and about the same weight, 245 against Jack Massey. There's last three fights. So roughly the same weight. Parker's probably just, done training from the camp he had in October, and the fight he had in October. So yeah, very interesting, mate. One question I did want to ask you is Deontay Wilder weighed in with hand wraps on. What do you make of that? Do you think it perhaps was he's maybe just done a quick loosening up session there, one kind of final round on the pads, or what do you make of that?
That was very interesting. Now I know you were saying that you watch on a different stream. So on the DAZN stream, they were saying that he was just come from trying the gloves on backstage. So that's why he had the hand wraps on. But it is very interesting, yeah. And I wonder, like in terms of weight, did they even add another pound on, in the weigh in? Who knows? But yeah, it actually looked quite imposing. It was quite a cool kind of visual weighing in with the hand wraps. But yeah, that was a first. I'd never seen anyone weigh in with hand wraps on before. So yeah, it's as visuals go, it was quite cool. Yeah, but I think he was trying the gloves on backstage. That's why he had those on. But yeah, very interesting.
Very interesting. I didn't know that. So we've obviously watched in two different streams.
Mm.
On the stream I was watching, they said about it. Perhaps maybe he had just come straight to the weigh-in from doing a light pad session, and that's maybe why I had it on. Could be both. He was maybe just trying the new gloves on at a pad session. Who knows?
Yeah, could be.
Um, just kind of final thoughts before we come to our final predictions now. What did you kind of read in? Did you read anything into the weigh-in at all? It seemed like Parker was there, just on the scales, off the scales, no messing about. Whereas Wilder was a bit more bit slower, made kind of Joseph Parker wait, or do you not just read into anything like that? There was no theatrics at the face off. It was just a good old fashioned face off. No animosity really, professional. But did you read much into any of that?
Not particularly, as you mentioned, there was no kind of animosity. It's actually been a very respectful kind of build up all the way through. They've shown how respectful they are of each other, and I know that's a difference for Wilder. You know, Parker's always quite respectful, but Wilder's always quite brash. But I don't think it'll affect the outcome. Or just the most interesting thing is what I thought Andy Lee said in terms of fighting fire with fire, and they expect to fight fire with fire tomorrow night. And I've made no kind of mistake in previous videos about this fight that I think that's, funnily enough, that's Parker's best kind of key for success is to follow the blueprint of his friend Tyson Fury and walk him down and beat him up and make him fight off the back foot, where he proved that he's very kind of he was found out a lot fighting off the back foot. So yeah, I thought that was interesting from Andy Lee that will look like that will be their game plan tomorrow night. So I think that's the best hope for Parker if he's to win this one.
Interesting, mate. Really, really interesting. I think, some people would say fighting fire with fire against Deontay Wilder is a silly thing to do, but I completely agree with yourself and what Andy Lee said. You look at the defeats on Wilder's resume, and obviously it is only to Tyson Fury. And you look at how first fight Fury was obviously trying his it was the artist formerly known as Tyson Fury in certain aspects where he was still dancing up on his toes a bit more. Whereas you then look at the rematch in the trilogy when Fury was heavier and, as you said, just coming forward, making Wilder move backwards. Obviously, if you're moving back, throwing the right hand, yeah, it'll still be powerful, but it's not going to be anywhere near as powerful
Yeah.
as if you're walking forward with the right hand. Obviously, it means you could walk Parker onto one, but I think I agree, mate. And Fury will have been given Parker so many tips and advice, obviously throughout camp of what style he thinks he should implement. But mate, I agree. I think as ballsy as it is fighting fire with fire and with Deontay Wilder, I think it's the right move. Suppose, mate, we may as well come on to our final predictions now. I know in the group chat a few people have kind of been talking about this fight and whether or not, as the fight's drawn closer, that Joseph Parker actually, do you know what, he could really win this fight. Wilder is a massive favorite still with the bookies. Just kind of your final thoughts and your final prediction now on Wilder Parker, who wins, how, and has the way and changed your mind at all?
The way it hasn't changed my mind, and I mentioned there in terms of game plan for Parker, but I still think even if he implements that, like he could box and have success, and he could walk him down, but he's gonna get caught eventually. The big right hand for me is gonna seal it. You know, Parker's too easily hit. He has a good chin, but the chin got cracked against Joyce, so will that be the same? And it depends if Wilder has anything left after the Fury fights, who knows? But I still think Parker is too easily hit, and he will get hit. And I struggle to see him getting back up, so I'm going for Wilder KO 4-6 for me.
4-6, very interesting, very interesting. I saw something that I think they said on the broadcast there was 42 knockouts. He's had over 30 of them have come inside 3 rounds. So
Yeah.
even if Parker gets out at 3 rounds, some people might think he's doing well. Do you know what, mate? I've been one of these that I thought Wilder was going to get the Parker, and I still do. I'm sticking with my guns. I said I did a short earlier in the week, saying that I thought it would be the second half of the fight. I'm sticking to that. I'd say maybe you're saying 4-6. I'm saying round 7-9, for Deontay Wilder. I completely agree with what you've said there, though. Would not surprise me in the slightest if Joseph Parker was well up on the cards, um, or perhaps well up in in our perception watching it. Like you look at Deontay Wilder, he's been behind on the cards against Ortiz twice. He was behind on the cards against Artur Szpilka, and with all due
Yeah.
respect, Joseph Parker's a better fighter than Artur Szpilka is. But he just has that equalizer. Can you stay out of Deontay Wilder's right hand for 36 minutes? I'd say it's near on impossible.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury couldn't do it. He's just a freak that can keep on getting back up. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting, mate. I'm going to stick with my guns as well. But yeah, it was an interesting weigh-in. And mate, I'm just so looking forward to the fight now. Don't know about you. Just kind of your final words on the whole event that we're going to watch at Day of Reckoning.
My final words would be I haven't looked forward to a card as much as this in a long time. You know, top to bottom, it's just stacked, and I can't wait to sit down and watch it from the start to the end. And it's been a long time since I said that about a boxing card. So yeah, I cannot wait for this one.
Perfect way to end it. Now, thanks very much, mate, for joining me. I appreciate it. And yeah, I'll speak to you again soon.
Cheers, take care.